Hi, my name is Cody Angel with St. Pete Running Company. Today we're going to take you through a shoe fitting process that we call Stride Smart, which is designed to get you wearing the right shoes for whatever it is that you're doing. The reality is we need to be healthy these days, and you can't overlook cardio exercise. Running is a great way to get that in. However, 4 out of 5 runners get hurt in a given year, and that's what led us to develop the Stride Smart shoe fitting process. We designed this process to help the individual get footwear specific to them so they will have a lesser rate of running related injuries and therefore be able to train more with less downtime. The way the process works is we sit down individually with each person and develop an understanding of strengths and weaknesses, history of injuries, what activities they plan on doing, and what their goals are. That in consideration, what we'll do is a series of measurements and analysis which we'd like to show you today, with the end result being the person leaves here with the right shoes and the appropriate advice for what's going to help them achieve their fitness goals. All right, first off, thanks for coming in. And tell me, do you have anything that bothers you at the moment, or what's the biggest complaint you have about?
My biggest complaint really are that my shoes are getting old, and I notice when they get old that my ankles and my knees start to bother me. So other than that, I don't really have any sports injuries or anything like that.
Okay, what we've noticed is typically if your shoes are worn out, it's a dull ache on both legs. Is that what you're experiencing?
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like replacing your footwear would be a smart move. What we'll do is a few tests. If you don't mind, stand up for me. The first thing we're going to do is actually, I'm going to have you pull your toes all the way up to the sky and back down. So do that 2 or 3 times, and what I'm looking for is to see if your big toe can come up off the ground or not. Believe it or not, that's 80% of the support in our foot is being able to move your big toe up and down. So think of that as a light switch that turns your foot on and off. And by the way, yours do very well. So you passed the first test.
Thanks.
We're going to measure both feet while you're standing up, and we'll just start right here, okay? So just slide that under there.
Does it tell you if I have Fred Flintstone feet?
It will. There's a Flintstone button on
Okay.
here. So, and then if you'll put the other foot right there.
Because that's what my problem is. This is why I can't go to a normal shoe store too. Because I've got Fred Flintstone feet.
We call those Florida feet.
Are they Florida feet?
And what we're doing is taking 3 different measurements: the length of your arch, the width of your foot at its widest point, and obviously the length of your foot. It's important to do both because 2/3 of the time your left foot is longer than your right. And also, we should point out that most of the time with athletic shoes, if your foot reads a 9, you need to go to a 9.5 or 10. So your athletic shoes should be just a little bit big and give your toes room to wiggle.
Okay.
Let's check the other one real fast. Great, and you're actually one who your feet are actually the same size, so symmetrically you're perfect.
I like you more and more.
All right, so
Great.
now what we'll do is, that in mind, we'll go and do some assessments where we look at everything from your feet all the way up the chain. Okay, now it's time to look at some more things. So what I'll have you do is put both hands on your hips, spread your feet about shoulder width, big smile, and then squat down like this and back up, and do that 3 times. And there's actually several things we're looking for here, and I'll show you those in a moment. And now what you'll do is face that way and do the exact same thing you did 3 more times, please. That's good. Now face towards me. Are you ready for the hard one?
Yes.
So switch the abs on and stare at something, and you'll come up on one leg, take a few seconds to get your balance, and then just do 3 short one-legged squats. I've learned it's easier if you stare at something.
There you go.
That's good. Let's see the other leg now and see if there's a difference. Okay, you did great, and this is an important step so we can show you what we're doing and ultimately pair you to the shoes that would be best for you. Having a look at your 2-legged squat, I must say I'm very impressed. Your knees stay, for the most part, above your big toe, so that's number 1 check mark. Your heels stayed on the ground, which is also great, and your feet didn't externally rotate out to the side, which would be indicative of some hip pain. So from the front, all three things, you get a check mark from us. I can tell you've done a lot of squats at some point in your life. Let me show you from the side. Let's see. So from the side, having a look, in a perfect world, it would be toes, knees, and nose on the same plane, and yours is very good, very close, and better than most. If the person, when they squat, their knees go way forward, that shows that they're quad dominant rather than glute dominant, and we actually want to be glute dominant. That's our main engine, that's our powerhouse, and so if that person couldn't do a squat, they would essentially kneel forward, and then we would give them some advice showing them how to strengthen their glutes as well. But for you, I would say this is darn near perfect. Keep doing everything that you're doing because that's pretty good. So there's a good balance between quad and glutes. So high five, you get the star of the day. And then,
I like this more and more.
You like this?
I do, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And then from the front, this is the hard one. When you go out and run, imagine you're going for a 5K run. Basically, your body performs about 5,000 one-legged squats, where you're either on your left leg, your right leg, or on 0 legs, you're jumping between the two. So it makes sense for us to be really good doing what's called single limb stance. And you can see here, the knee wobbles just a little bit. And the hips stayed pretty level here, which is a great sign. For you, you want to think that kneecap right here just stays nice and smooth as it goes up and down. You see how it oscillated out and then in right there? And then let's see your other leg too. Now we're not picking on you, but we think you can be even stronger if you spend some time focusing on one-legged squats. You see how the knee goes there and the hip likes to go that way? Watch this. Effectively, when you're running and you're tired, it would want to do the same thing. So for you, you've got homework. We challenge you to make your one-legged squat just as awesome as your two-legged squat is. And I think the way to do that is spend some time in the gym doing it, but also think of ways you can add that throughout the duration of your regular day with regular everyday activities like standing on one leg when you brush your teeth, or every time you send a text message, try to make sure you're standing on one leg. And that'll be a lot of strengthening right there.
Nailed it.
But what I found is if you spend a lot of time on one leg, you'll notice that it pays a lot of dividends for your running sooner rather than later, because you've already got the muscles there. It's just the brain telling the muscles to switch on and to keep you in a little bit straighter alignment.
Okay.
All said, yours is very good. A lot of people can't stand on one leg, and that's okay. They can still come here and get shoes, because we're going to give them that advice too, to get really good at single leg squats. Now it's time for the fun stuff. We're going to watch you run for a minute, and it won't be long, and you don't have to go fast. So first we'll do a brisk walk, just so you get used to the belt going underneath of you. Have you been on a treadmill? Okay. We always like to ask. And then don't worry about what this is, because we'll show you that after it's over. And see that you've already mastered walking, so we're going to make you run for a minute. And then I would say just don't jazz it up, just do what feels natural. And you got about 2 hours. Just kidding.
I could go for 2 hours.
Yeah, awesome. Good for you. About 30 more seconds. I'm going to move our camera so we can see from the side too, because that's important. Excellent. Now what I'll get you to do is just hit the stop button and then keep moving for the next 5 or 6 seconds. You did really well. High five. I'm proud of you. What I want to show you now is exactly what you did, and we can explain everything to you simply, and you're about 2 minutes away from having the shoes that are perfect for you. Now we're going to review your running stride, or what they call your gait. We looked from a few different positions, and have a look at this. We like to see when you're landing, and it's not about only looking at the ankles and the feet, but we need to look at the whole thing, at the lateral or medial movement of your foot, and yours bends to the inside only a little bit, so there's just only a small little curve there. And I think that's on both feet. Doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. And in fact, you're supposed to land on the outside of your foot, and then as your hips pass over it, it's supposed to bend in just a little bit. So for you, that amount of what we call pronation is very good. And then I want to show you what happens from the side, because this is important as well. So you'll see here, it's not just what shoes you wear, but it's also how you strike the ground. And we think it's important for you to land with your ankle ball underneath your knee. So you're doing a very good job of that. The only piece of advice we would give you is to stretch your hip flexors just a little bit, and if you have a foam roller, try using that on everything soft, but especially up there on your hip flexors. And what that'll help you do is pull your hips more underneath of you into like a pelvic neutral position. You'll be running even faster. So that's very good. What we want to show you now are neutral shoes, because we've assessed that your stride pattern is that of a neutral gait. So we'll pair that to the right shoe.
Hey, I am super excited. So I tried on 3 different running shoes, and the Asics picked me. They're the most comfortable. I like them a lot. I'm super, super excited to go for a run in them. Not only did I get my new shoes, I'm getting new socks. They are, they'll help with blisters and breathability. So these things will air your feet out along with the mesh on the top of my new shoes. So whenever I go for a run and I catch the breeze, they will cool my feet down. I am ready for my run.